Let Shalom call halal Yahweh by Hashem Shai by Hashem Rakakwadash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders. Salutations to all my fellow laborers doing this work in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and their freedom to do so now more so than ever. To the scattered elect that are scattered around the four corners of the earth, that be like unto the speckled bird, the Israelite foreigners, and to the Akwaf that are listening and learning, to you I say Shalom. This is your brother Malcolm from the branch of the Great Millstone here in Chicago, coming at you with another lesson in truth, and I'm profiling the book once again, The Jew, the Negro, by Arthur Talmadge Abernethy, PhD, who is an Edomite, and you can see he's using an icon from, let's see if we can zoom in on that, make it a little bit bigger. He's using an icon from Europe during the Dark Ages. And when you go to images of the saints and of the Lord and all that sort of thing, you'll find images like this prior to the Renaissance. Renaissance era came around, and all of a sudden everyone was blind, and the circle around their head, the fro was gone. And that's what the circle really was representation of. You see, because I have this image of this icon that I've taped to my Bible, and this is from Slovenia. 13th century Slovenia. All right. And you can see the angel and the saints all have afros and their garments on those images. And what they do when Esau, what he does is when he got a hold and got in control, he started taking all the images, and let me see if I can raise that up. I don't know why this. There we go. And painting over them. That was the first job that Michelangelo and Leonardo da Vinci were charged with. The first thing that they did was they started the iconoclasm, was the destruction of the icons. They started chipping off the noses and the lips on the statues. The paintings, they were using chemical solutions to lighten them up. Some of them, the knees and the feet and the hands will still be dark, and everything else is pale. They and then they would draw new faces and noses and blonde hair onto them and that whole sort of thing. That's what they were destroying, the icons, and they put themselves up. As a matter of fact, let's grab Psalms 85 and 11. And it reads, truth shall spring out of the earth, and righteousness shall look down from heaven. And see, that's what's happening. All these relics and these things that have been dug up, like I've just shown you, the images bear witness to themselves. All right? They bear witness that the truth has been denied, and now the truth is being told, and they're calling it critical race theory. No, it's critical race facts. Look, the redlining was a fact. Jim Crow era was a fact. Systemic racism within the school system, within the court system, within the police departments is a fact. Those are not theories. The wounded knee was a fact. The Indian Removal Act was a fact. The taking of the war lost at the Alamo, the taking of Texas, the taking of California, the taking of Nevada, Colorado, and all these other states that were taken, New Mexico, and Texas, those are facts. And now you call those very same people aliens on their own land. You build up a wall and on my land, and when I'm calling the wrong side of the wall, you call me an alien. All right? Those are facts. That's not theory. And the truth hurts. And it hurts really, really bad. This is let's go to 2nd Ezra, the 6th chapter. I think it's around the 28th, 27th verse. Yeah, I'm going to start at verse 27, and it reads, "For evil shall be put out, and deceit shall be quenched. As for faith, it shall flourish. Corruption shall be overcome, and the truth, which have been so long without fruit, shall be declared." And that's what's happening. The truth is being declared. Back into this book, the ancient black Hebrews, Abraham and his family, okay? We're back into this book, and I'm going to go to page 12, and it gives the breakdown of Shem's family from Arphaxad, all right, to Eber, and it gives all of them, okay? And Eber meaning Hebrew, all right, from the past, all right. And what was from the past? The the language, okay, the language of Hebrew, because they kept the Hebrew and all the other nations didn't. All the other nations were speaking broken forms of Hebrew and other, and other languages. All right, so it's very important. What do you get the Hebrew word ibar, which then what came out of that? Ebos, Hebos, Hebrews. All right, now Negro, like it says, the Jew, a Negro. Another thing that Gert and both, not Gert so much, he actually had it a little more correct. When you read the Jew, a Negro, Arthur Talmadge Abernethy, PhD, he kept referring to Abraham as Jewish. That is extremely incorrect. Abraham was a Hebrew. I think it's Genesis. Let's find that. When it's called Abram, the Hebrew, he was not a Jew. The word Jew is derived from the word Judah. So only that one tribe out of the 12 tribes will be referred to as a Judean, actually. All right, and the Judean over time became 3 tribes, meaning the Edomite Romans could not tell the difference between Benjamin, Levi, and Judah, which made up the majority of the kingdom of Judah, which was left under the Grecian Roman rule. All right, because this northern kingdom had already been dispersed through the Assyrian captivity to over here toward the Americas. All right, but I was looking at some, my chain of thought left me. Well, through the spirit, maybe it'll come back around. But nevertheless, let's get back into to the next page on this book. And on page 13, it talks about Ur of the Chaldeans is the land of his birth. All right, it's talking about Abraham. And it said, Terah took his son Abram and his grandson Lot. All right, so Lot and Abram are important, okay, because Lot actually makes up his seeds become, because Lot is also a Hebrew. That's how we know that Ammon and Moab, who if you Google Ammon and Moab gods, it's gonna pop up Asian gods and faces and features. All right, we know, or so-called. So we know that Ammon and Moab, through careful examination, are Ammon being the Japanese and Moab being the Chinese today, who are also Hebrew, and that's what their languages are, is broken Hebrew. Some of the characters are very similar, and some even have the same sounds. And those are they all have that epicantic fold, which is that mark of incest. All right, because when you read the story of Lot, Lot's daughters thought the world had ended and there was no one left, and they got their father pass out drunk. And I can only imagine what they did to him while he was passed out to get his rod up. And they both rode him in that condition, and had children. All right? And you got to think how much stronger we were in the ancient world too, But I wanted to get to this part of the book where it talks about, on page 14. I just want to read that. And it says, scholars have so long noted there is a durable link between Abraham's family and the Syro-Mesopotamia between the Euphrates and Habar rivers around Haran the Akkadian. And remember they spoke about that in the 300 Akkadian, all right? But the Akkadians were not so-called white people. It says this is where Abraham's immediate kin live. Genesis, and then it gives you scriptures. Genesis 11, 31, 24 and 10, 28 and 2, 29, 4 and 5. Abram's direct ancestors are Terah, father, Nahor, grandfather, also the name of Abram's brother. All right. So now let's go to right here when it gets to the Akkadians and Amorites. And the Amorites were listed as enemies of the Israelites, all right? So what we're talking about is the fervent crest. That's this area above Israel. That whole area right there in the north of Africa. Remember, let's see if it will, the camera will. There we go. That's this area just above Egypt, above Israel, north of it. And when we read the definition of Ham, especially in the Youngs, it breaks down. Matter of fact, let me just grab it. And we read that definition again. Let's just go to Ham. And the definition even explains the area north of Israel, north of Egypt, was all where the Hamitic people dwell. And the Hamites are what you refer to as African people today, the actual Africans, all right, which are a different dark race from the Negroes, as we're about to read. So if you're new, this is from the Young's Dictionary Bible, okay, the Young's, and we're gonna read. And I love this. This one even hits harder than the Zondervan's when you read it. All right, the way it breaks it down. But it reads. Hold on, let's get it. It says, Ham, a son of Noah, father of Cush, Egypt, Put, and Canaan. See further on these four. While they all may have been dark-skinned, they were not. Let's turn the page. You'll see it still says Ham at the top. Let's wait for it to focus. Surprised they haven't turned the camera off yet. Come on now. Ham. They were not the forefathers of the Negroid races, but rather the peoples associated with Egypt. In the north of the continent of Africa, the Egyptians thought of Canaan as one of their provinces even until the very late times. So the Canaanites that the Israelites were fighting against, the Philistines, Esau in his movies have always shown these people to be pale. And the reason they show these people to be pale, because if they didn't show them that, it will be a dead giveaway that the Jewish people are a bunch of frauds. All right? They wouldn't, and they always show, every movie I've ever seen, every cartoon that's on YouTube, on the internet, show you Goliath and his people as so-called white people, and they were not. Because Gert asked a very important question in his book on page 7. And he asked, what did the people of the region look like at the time? What are the ethnic clues of Abraham's family specifically? All right. Matter of fact, let's read that through the camera. All right. It says, what did the people of the region look like at the time? What are the ethnic clues of Abraham's family specifically? Are there any pictures of the people of the region from that time? The answer to all these questions will inform us of what Abraham's family looked like. And then guess what? In his book, because in the Negro the Jew, there are no images at all, just on the cover. All right? But in this book, in Gert's book, he shows you images of art from the people of the region. All right? That are still on caves and walls and different things of that nature. All right? And as you can see, they were woolly-haired men of color with beards. All right? They were not so-called, cornrows and beards. All right? That's an Israelite being accosted by an Assyrian. All right? So, hold on. So let's read this part about the Akkadians and the Amorites, okay? Hold on, let's wait for that to focus. Salakia. It usually would do all that automatically. Now I got to touch stuff and do stuff. I'm telling you, man, this is. It says, and now it's so big. Hold on. There we go. All right, let me get stable here. It says, Southern Mesopotamia, Babylonia. See, that's what Babylon was. Full of people of color. Mostly the sons of Hams, what you call African today, Africans. Along with the now ethnically extinct Sumerians, all right? These are the 3 volumes dedicated to demonstrating that the Southern Mesopotamia population was of African appearance, all right? And he's right. And as a matter of fact, they're saying now the extinct Sumerians, which is a lie. As a matter of fact, the character of Conan the Barbarian is supposed to be a so-called dark-skinned man. All right? Because the scriptures clearly tell you there is no end to all the people. Now, hold on. Before I continue reading, let's get... Well, let me finish reading this, and then I'll get that. All right? So it says, these are the 3 volumes dedicated to demonstrating that the Southern Mesopotamia population was African in appearance. Black Summer by Hermel. So that's a book. Hermelstein, a Jewish person. Pomegranate Publishing, 2012 to 2013. I'm going to try to find that. All right, that's kind of recent. Most writers have argued that Abraham was black. Did so, based on being a part of the region formed by Nimrod, son of Cush. Genesis 10, 6, and 11. So once again, you got scholars that are putting legitimate historical evidences in their writings and in their books, but yet the Christian churches, and people like Vocab Malone, the Christian churches, and you go to Moody Institute and these different places of education for Christian learning, and they don't teach any of this stuff at all. They teach the opposite of what the truth is. All right? So even that song from the B-52s talked about, Mesopotamia. They had a song called Mesopotamia. And the lyrics went something like 6,000 or 8,000 years ago. They laid down the law. And they did. So and basically, that is your true. And these were fervent civilizations with technology and everything, languages, writing, and then you had this period from the late 1600s going into the 1800s, this time of white superiority, which tried to erase all these facts, all this history, all this information. All right, and one of the main things they did, all right, was they removed the Apocrypha, which means to be sent away hidden. All right, we showed you the evidence of that. All right, they removed the Apocrypha from the Bible, which contained the Greek captivity. Because if you take the Apocrypha out, what you get is Babylon, the Assyrian captivity, and then straight to Rome. Greece is left out. Well, Greece is when the Israelites became Gentiles in the Hellenist fashion and became Hellenes. Hellenized, meaning whitewashed, because that's what the author of this book that's on the screen, he let you know that in his book, that Helen means to be whitewashed. It means white. All right, and this is Second Ezra, and this will be the last scripture. This is Second Ezra, the 7th chapter and the 28th verse, and it reads, "For my son Yahushai shall be revealed," and that's who the world ignorantly calls Jesus, "within revealed with those that be with him, and they shall remain." Salakia. "For my son Yahushai shall be revealed with those that be with him, and they shall remain and shall rejoice within 400 years. All right. "After these years shall my son Hamashiach die, and that all men that might have life," and all those men that might have life are the elect, the Israelites, the elect and the remnant and the elect of Israel, man. Okay. And when you go to the first Maccabees, all right, so one more scripture. When you go to first Maccabees, it gives you the breakdown. When the Edomites came into power, and when the so-called white man came into power, is when evils was multiplied on the earth. All right, and this is first Maccabees 1, the first chapter, and it says, "And it happened after that Alexander the son of Philip the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Chittim, has smitten Darius the dark brown-fleshed king, Darius the king of the Persian and Medes," and that's the king you saw in the 300. All right, "that he reigned in his stead the first over Greece." So those dark-skinned Etruscans that you saw. All right, don't let me break out the book behind me that has the images of the actual Japhetic Greeks that were there, like Agamemnon, who were all portrayed as pale males in the movie Troy. In the Battle of Troy, there was not one so-called white man there. Yet they make these movies and glorify themselves with lies. But the so-called Alexander conquered that area 333 years after the battle that took place at Troy. That's when the so-called white man came into that land. That's when the Grecian captivity literally started. All right. So with that, I'm gonna give all praises, all honor, and glory unto Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai, by Hashem Rakakwadash, Wa Abba Babal, Kwam Yasharala.